Hey and welcome. My name's Dale Darley, and I help people to write books. I help them to build their personal brand around their books. And I'm also a big fan of journaling. And I met Kay Sanders, probably about a year ago, and we became accountability buddies, and we speak every single week. Well, there's been some weeks that we haven't, but mostly we speak every single week. And when Kay told me she was going to write a book, I anticipated that 6 months down the line, she would create her latest book. However, she wrote this in 45 days, right? 45. Now, I know it wasn't easy for her because, it takes a lot of work to write a book. But what is interesting is Kay's job title, if we want to call it a job, the thing that she does, her passion, she's known as the creator of possibilities. And she's an intuitive business coach and a certified Akashic Records consultant. And she's already a best-selling author. So I've already had a sneak preview of her book, and I'm also signed up to her email list, so I get I'm going to call it a daily dose of inspiration. So what we're going to do today is I have invited Kay to come and talk to us. And Kay is going to answer a number of questions. And we'll start the questions, but I know what's going to happen. We're going to go like all over the place. And that's okay, because I think that's the best way for interviews to happen. But the point that I want to get across to everybody is that, when you get this urge to write a book, know that you can. It is hard work, but if it truly is something that you're passionate about, like Kay has demonstrated, you can do it. I'm not going to suggest 45 days. I don't know anyone else that's done it in 45 days. However, anyway, without waffling on too much, Kay, thank you so much for agreeing to be interviewed. I don't know if you want to start by just saying a few more words about yourself. I might have waffled too much already, but just introduce yourself in the way that you would like.
Okay, well, thanks, Dale. Thanks for having me. And, thanks for doing this interview. I really appreciate it. So quick about me. Originally I'm from Germany. I came to the El Paso, Texas about 12 years ago, back in 2006. And, it's been an interesting journey. I had a whole lot of ups and downs. I got smacked by the universe so many times because I wasn't listening until I finally did. And that's really what led me on my path. And also that's what also made me, that's what made me become the creator of possibilities, because, the guidance that I was receiving. But yeah, now it's really, I focus a lot on entrepreneurs, really helping them create more possibilities in their life, in their business, so they can really go out there, make that big impact that they want to make, and really create that freedom in their own life, and really enjoy being an entrepreneur without, spinning their wheels and trying to, hit their head against the wall because, things are not working. So I really help them create that momentum in their business, and also they can really manifest whatever their heart desires. So that's basically what I do now. And like you mentioned, I did write my book in 45 days, and that was really because the universe was, kept hitting me in the head and kept pushing me to get this book out.
Yes, I know that feeling.
But I'm really so grateful that I was given this opportunity to write this book, to bring these messages of inspiration to the world, because I know for myself, it made a huge difference in my life. And I know it's going to impact a whole lot of people's lives, because it is supposed to bring, motivation, inspiration. So people can really see that so much more is possible for them. Mm-hmm. And so they can really go out there and make stuff happen for them, to create that success, the joy and the happiness in their life.
Well, you've answered my first question. What inspired you to write the book? So I don't need to ask you that.
Well, I can go a little bit more details about that. Because it was really back in December. I was meditating, and I honestly had no intention of writing this book. My book that I want to write I already had the title, Tame Your Inner Gremlins. And it's supposed to be about how to really get rid of your inner gremlins, so you can really get out there and create the success that you want. Well, unfortunately, or maybe let's say fortunately enough, I was meditating and then I had this massive download. I'm supposed to write 365 quotes, put it in a book. And I'm like, what? How can I write 365 quotes? I mean, I had a hard time just coming up with like a handful of quotes. But it was really like every day when I was meditating, I was getting that download. One day I actually got like 40 messages, like this massive download where I wrote 40 messages. I'm like, okay, thank you, universe. But that's really where the inspiration came from. It was, I had the desire to make a big difference in the world. And I actually asked, while I was meditating, I asked, what can I do to really make a difference in people's lives? I mean, I've been already doing the Akashic record readings, and it already had impacted me tremendously. So I asked the question, what can I do? How can I bring my Akashic records, readings and stuff to the world? How can I impact the world? And that's really when I got this download, write this book. So I answered the calling, and I'm super grateful that I was really given this opportunity to write this book, to get this inspiration from the universe to really put these quotes in place and put these quotes into a book and to share it with the world.
I think that's absolutely such a beautiful story because, when I work with clients, I say to them to get connected to their muse. And you've done that so absolutely beautifully through your meditation. So, I think that one of the strongest messages that we can take just in this early part of our interview is for people to trust, to really get connected to that divine inspiration, that muse, that whatever they want to call it, and really allow the book to come through them. Because I don't know about you, but I believe our books are already written in our hearts, and we just have to create that connection to bring them down. So I guess that your book title has something to do with inspiration.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
It's
Give us a
called
clue. Go on, give
Messages.
us some more clues.
It's Messages of Inspiration. It's a book with 365 messages from the universe, all inspirational, motivational quotes that all hold a deeper meaning. Like each message really holds a deeper meaning for differently for each person. So if you read one quote, it will have a different meaning for you than will have for me. But it's all geared towards, helping you see the bigger picture in life. So for example, if you're really having a hard time right now in your business, in your life, if you're not really all that fulfilled, these messages are supposed to really guide you to look at your life at a different viewpoint, from further away, so you can really have a bird's eye view of your life. And it's really supposed to, if you tune into each of those messages, you will get that guidance to, how can you move forward. And I actually also put to help people at a much deeper level. I also put the messages from the book into a daily email series. That's the email series that you're getting, where you not just read the message, the quote, but also there's an action step involved. Because it's one thing when you read an inspirational message, but then you don't do nothing with it. So with my daily emails, you also get that action step. So you actually do something with it. So you actually tune into, excuse me, the message, and you take action. Because you can read all these motivational quotes and inspirational quotes, but you have to take actions. That's how you make a difference in your life, because you make different choices. And by reading those quotes, one thing I also like to do, usually I don't ever read my books all over again. I have my first book, I haven't read it ever since I wrote it. But this Message of Inspiration book, I read it every day. I read a quote. I even actually get my own email. So it's nice, every morning, I can't wait for the message to come into my email. But sometimes sometimes you have those really bad days where you're like, oh my God, you really just want to put your head in the sand and go in bed, put your covers over your head and not come out. So on days like that, when I really feel very frustrated, I actually grab my book and just read a couple of quotes. Or what I do is I just tune in okay, what message is important for me to know right now? And I just kind of go through wherever I feel that, I need to stop. I stop at that page and look at that quote. And you know what? It's right on. Spot on to whatever I'm going through at that moment.
Do you know what's really lovely about that? I use oracle cards as inspiration for journaling. And just like you said about your emails that come through, when I click on them and I read them, for me, that gives me something to sit and write about. So I'll look at it and tune in and think, well, okay, what do I need to do with this today? How does that how does that kind of guide me through whatever is going on inside here or inside here? So yeah, I love that, you have added that action piece to the inspiration piece, because that, for me, that really helps me think, well, okay, I need to do something with this. Like you say, it's all very well just looking at it, but what are you going to do with it? So you talked earlier, so you've got the book, and obviously people can, when they get the book, they can, skim through it, pick something to have a look at. They've got the emails to the daily email coming through. But what kind of person? So when you were channeling this book, you talked about entrepreneurs, but what kind of entrepreneur? Do you have a picture of someone in your head? Because when we start to think about writing a book, I always say to people, you need to think about who your ideal reader is, so that when you're writing, you are directing it to that one person. So we've got entrepreneurs, but what kind of entrepreneurs?
I mean, initially when I wrote the book, I mean, I want this book to be able to empower everyone. So it has, regular for regular people, like non-entrepreneurs quotes in there. But when I really wrote the book, I mean, the picture I had in my head was really that conscious entrepreneur, female entrepreneur. I mean, that's like mainly the people that I work with, but I also work with male entrepreneurs. But it was really that conscious entrepreneur. Now, what do I mean with conscious? Someone that is dabbling into the spiritual side, because I mean, these are really spiritual messages. Or someone that has no idea about law of attraction, or is really not even a little bit intrigued by the woo-woo side, the book might be a little bit too much for them. Because I mean, I do use words and tune in, ask your guides, you have your spiritual intuition, divine guidance, and those type of things. So if someone who is not at least a little bit intrigued by the spiritual side, it might be too far out there for them. But when I was writing it, it was really to guide those spiritual entrepreneurs, those change makers, those people that are out there that really want to make a difference, who have gone through adversities and are using their gifts, their lessons, the lessons that they have learned, to go out there and really make a difference in the world. It's for those entrepreneurs that really want to make that difference, and also not just make a difference in other people's lives, but also create more freedom and success and happiness in their own life. So it is based on spiritual guidance. So like I said, it should target someone that is into the woo-woo side, or at least a little bit, because I don't, yes. And even for those who are not really into the woo-woo side, I think it is a nice little step into seeing what's really possible. Because I mean, when I learned about the woo-woo side, at first I'm like, what is that? That's out there. I mean, that's too far out there, until I really learned a lot more about it. And now it's like, wow, I mean, you can do so much with it. I mean, we are divine beings that we can do, be, and have anything that we want. But it's our ego mind that keeps us stuck, that sabotages our success. And overcoming that ego mind, that, the self-sabotaging behavior, that's what is necessary to really create the life that we want, to allow us to manifest whatever our heart desires. But we gotta get a handle of what's going on up here in order to tap into what's going on in here. So my book is supposed to connect the people that read it, the readers, from going from here down to in their heart, to really see what's really possible for them, that you can do anything you want to do, that you can be anything that you want to be, and that you can have anything that your heart desires.
I love it. I'm sure, actually, we hear a lot about people talking about, using those words woo-woo and spiritual stuff and things like that. I think more and more people are becoming conscious and aware and really tuning in. I call it, listening to the whispers of their soul. And so I think that what you might find, I hope you find, is it'll reach a lot more people than you initially think of, which would be amazing. I mean,
so that's my goal anyways. I mean, because I know my book is going to empower so many people. So the more people that will be reached with this book, the better, because it will definitely change a lot of people's lives. I just know it. I mean, that's why I've been pushed, like I said, 45 days. I've never written a book in 45 days. And I think it was really that the universe wanted me to get the book out there. And I've been getting so many opportunities from people wanting to help me support me in getting the book out there, and just other opportunities. And I know the universe wants this book to be out there because it is going to impact a whole lot of people.
So that's all the kind of the fun stuff, but you must have had some challenges. There's always challenges when you write a book. So kind of what were your challenges? And my second part of that question is, what did you do to overcome them?
Well, on this book, I actually had help. So since I did tap into my Akashic records, I mean, when I first got the idea or the intuition or the intuitive guidance to write this book, I'm like, you guys are crazy. How am I supposed to write 365 quotes? But initially, it was a little difficult to get the guidance. Like every day I tapped into my records and I asked, what message can I share today? What is important for the world to know? What message can I put into my book? Or I even tuned into my already done book. Because in the Akashic records, you can actually go into, that might be a little too far out, but I pulled it in basically. I envisioned seeing my book and like going through my book. So that's kind of like helped me really get my creativity going. So initially when I first started, every day I wrote maybe 2, 3, 4 quotes. And then I kind of like, I felt like I was dried out. I mean, it wasn't that I was just, writing and writing and writing, but I was really going by how I felt, what came through. And then the more I tapped into that, and initially it was also like my ego was trying to get in the way, like, oh, I can't write this and those type of things. But then I had to really trust in myself, trust in the guidance that I was receiving. And then after like the first week, things just started to kind of kick in, and I was getting like 10 quotes a day, 20 quotes. And, it's just like I said, that one day, the most quotes I've gotten in one day was I think it was 40 or 50 quotes. That was towards the end, because I was like, this weekend, I want to finish my book. I want to get it out there. So that one week and then one Saturday, I really sat there like all day, and just like I was getting this massive download, and I started editing and everything, and then it was done. But it was really, I know in my first book, I had a hard time with the whole writer's block. So for this book, I didn't really have that challenge because, like I said, I was getting the guidance from my record keepers in my records, from the divine. So I didn't have that big of a challenge on that part. The biggest challenge I had in my previous book was that overcoming the writer's block. And some of the things that I used to did was just start writing to get the creativity going. And then I usually was able to, tap into that. But I think that was like the biggest challenge I had with my first book. But this book, like I said, it was really, I had the backup. So I can't really take all the credit for myself. But it was, I don't know, everything just happened the way it was supposed to happen. I really didn't focus on, oh my God, I got to write this book. And oh my God, what if people don't like it? I mean, that question kind of came up sometimes. Like I said, that was really my ego kind of barging in, where when I wrote a quote, I'm like, do people really care about that? Do they really want to hear that? I'm like, okay, I got this message for a reason, so I'm going to put it in my book. So I didn't really read the quotes and then analyze, should I really put this one in there? I just trusted that the message that I got was the message I was supposed to put in the book. So I just went with the flow, basically.
Do you know, I really love that you've used the word trust in what you've just said several times. And I think that often what happens is, I mean, we know we've talked about writer's block on several occasions. In fact, we even have a course on writer's block, and we know it's usually the stuff that sits underneath that stops people from actually trusting that this is the right book and the right moment to write it, and trusting that people will want to read it. And I think that if we can tap into that trust and just somehow kind of hold on to it as if it were a physical thing, and just say, I know that this is going to be okay, then they will be able to just keep writing. I'm writing a book at the moment, and you're right. I get up every morning, and every morning I start writing, and I trust that I am on the right track. So, I think that is such a powerful message that you have shared with us. Okay, so that's the challenges. If you had to do it all over again, would you?
Yes.
You would.
Because like I said, for me, that book, I mean, I have my book here on my desk. I have one right next to my bed. I have a book like everywhere. And it really, because those messages are so very powerful, even for myself, because every time I read those messages, and like I said, especially when I have a bad day, when the energy is just really messing with me, I just grab that book and I read the book. I mean, one of the things that I like to read, there's one part in there, it's the message for you. That's what the title of that chapter is called. And that's really a message I channel from, from the universe. And it's like, I think it's like a two-page thing. And it is so very empowering when I read that, because oftentimes we get into this whole, well, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, and oh my God, it hasn't happened yet, and all that busy chatter, the monkey mind is driving you crazy. And just reading this one chapter automatically right away puts me in a much better mood and raises my vibration. And I mean, if you know or have heard anything about law of attraction, you attract what you vibrate on. So if you're on a very low vibration, you're like in a lack mood or lack vibration, you're going to attract more of that. I don't want to be in lack. So whenever I read this one chapter, it really puts me straight. It's kind of like that kick in the behind, that sets me straight. Like, what, I am a divine being. That, it allows me to look back at, all these things, and just looking at what all the opportunities that come to me because of my book. It just sets me straight. So yes, I would definitely write this book all over again. I mean, maybe next time take a little more time with it. But I mean, I even continue pulling those messages, like in my Facebook group each Monday morning, I share a message from the universe that I channel. So yes, I would definitely write this book again, because it is so powerful. And even now, the book hasn't even come out yet. And I have so many people that already signed up for my email series that send me messages like, oh my God, these messages are so empowering. They changed my life. And so my book hasn't even hit the shelves yet. And I already get so much traction, so much positivity, so many great comments about the book, that I know I did the right thing with, listening to the calling that I got to write this book. So yes, I definitely would do it again.
Perfect. So on that, one of the things that I like to do in my interviews is to ask, what advice do you have for other writers? What would you, from your heart to their heart, what would you suggest would keep them on track or started or whatever?
Well, the advice I would give is that your message is worth sharing. That's actually one of my quotes in my book as well, that your message is worth sharing. Don't buy into the belief that your message is not powerful enough, because if you can just impact one person with your book, that is one person that you impact. And then think about that one person will impact so many other people's lives. So it's like a ripple effect. So even though you might not impact thousands of people, but just think about if you can impact one person, and that impact will ripple out, to their people. So if they're, working with other people, it's going to impact them. So, your message is definitely worth sharing. And there's at least one person out there that needs to hear exactly what you have to say. If you've gone through a really challenging time in your life and you overcome that, or you're sharing your personal story, even if it is not a self-help book or a personal story, or just whatever book you're writing, whatever you're putting into that book, that is something at least one person out there needs to hear, is desperately waiting for you to share. So don't think that, oh, my story is not important enough, because it is. Because you hold a story within you. You hold many, many books within you. It's just tapping into that. And it also goes back to what we talked about earlier, the trust part. Trust that whatever intuitive guidance you receive, if you have an idea for a book and you have that deep inner feeling you want to really write that, don't let your ego mind, barge in and say, nah, you're not good enough, you can't do this, and don't worry. That's just a fear mode. That's like your ego trying to keep you safe, because when you write a book, you're out there. It's going to be uncomfortable, because then you might wonder, well, what if people don't want to read it? Like I said, there's at least one person out there that is waiting for you to release that book. And then really trust.
I couldn't have said that any better, because it was almost as if I had said that, because that's what I say to my clients. And it's like a domino effect. I touch you, you touch someone else, and everybody in that entire process creates something beautiful that I believe will help to make this world a better place. And that's, at least that's my hope, that we keep touching one life, one life, one life, and then someone else touches someone else's life. So thank you. That was really beautifully, beautifully put. So I know you've got a big Facebook launch party coming up on April the 17th.
Mhm.
So tell us a little bit about that, and then kind of like what other opportunities this book is opening up for you. Because one of the things that I always talk about is the book is not just the book. I call it the one thing. And out of the one thing, many, many other things can be created, like retreats, coaching programs, online workshops, face-to-face workshops, a speaking career, whatever.
Yes, most definitely. So to talk about the Facebook launch party, yes, it's going to be on the 17th. I will be on Facebook from 8 o'clock Mountain Time until 7 o'clock in the evening Mountain Time. So during the day, every 30 minutes or so, I will release something from a quote, have a Facebook Live, share some videos, share some, interviews that I was on, blog posts. I do 2 gift giveaways. One is going to be a gift giveaway for share and win, and then a buy and win. So buy my book and win. That day, my book will be on Kindle for 99 cents. My goal is really to get the word out as much as possible, to really get this book into the hands of as many people as possible. Because like I said, I do know my book is going to change a whole lot of people's lives. So that day I will be on Facebook all day long. Lots of fun things going on. We're going to be playing some games. Like I said, I'm going to be doing some Facebook Lives just so people can also get to know me a little bit better, not just reading my posts, but actually get to know, like, and trust me a little bit better. And then I'm also going to be reading some parts about my book. So it's going to be a fun day. Now, to answer your other question about, other opportunities, I mean, just as soon as I started, promoting the book or just talking about the book, I received so many interview requests. Actually, I mean, I think about my book, I had about 20 interviews already, podcast interviews, just because of my book. I still have so many more scheduled. And I also, some of the things that I want to do once the book is out is really go into businesses and use that for speaking, because books can really open the doors. And especially if you make the bestseller list, I mean, that's just, it's so much more credibility for you. Yeah. But then my email series, that's one thing. I'm actually turning that book also into a workbook. So basically taking the email series, turn it into a workbook so people can actually, have a little diary so they can take that book. I mean, it's going to be probably like a bigger book, but so they can actually write whatever comes up about each of the quotes. So that's one of the things I'm working on. I also want to turn it into a retreat, because the book also covers the 5 fundamental steps that I teach my clients about. It's also one of my Mindset Mastery program is also about those 5 steps. So I'm going to turn into a retreat, an online coaching well, it's already an online program, but I'm going to do a group coaching program from that. I'm going to do speaking engagement with it. I mean, so many things. I haven't even figured out yet all the things I want to do with that book, but I know it's going to be a whole lot of things. I mean, eventually I'm hoping that maybe this book will also help me get a spot on TV or a radio show or something like that, because I would like to bring personal development at a much bigger scale and using my book for that. So, there are certain things that I'm still working on, trying to see what I can tap into. But for me, my goal with this book is spread the word about it, so everyone will know what Messages of Inspiration is and what it does.
Phew. I mean, because I know you personally, I mean, one of the things that I would like everybody who is watching this is to actually watch how you do this, because one of the things I know you do, I mean, I've seen your marketing plans. You put stuff together and then you just systematically, and I know it's tiring, and you systematically go through it. So if anybody, although this call is not about marketing a book, if anybody wants to know how to market a book, watch Kay. So on the 17th, be part of that Facebook launch party, because you will learn absolutely masses, and then just watch what she does after, because I'm sure that ripple effect of everything that you touch in the way that you plan it and then you systematically go through it. I know it makes me tired. I sit and listen to you sometimes. I think, where did she get her energy from? But I know that when I see the templates, when we've chatted about those things, I know they are absolutely meticulous. Because what is the point unless if you're going to plan something, you have to take the action. So I really highly recommend people come to the party and watch what this young lady does, because she is, she's the creator of possibilities. She's phenomenal. You are. I mean, what you do, Kay, is absolutely incredible. I watch you every single time. When we have our calls together, I am totally in awe of how you put all these things together. So you've created this book, you've written it in 45 days, you've got this amazing launch party, you've got all this other stuff that you're planning to do. There must be something that you do outside of work. What do you do for fun?
That's a very good question, actually. I thought about that the other day. I'm like, well, one thing I do is, like, I love my little, my backyard. I mean, I live in a desert, so my backyard, that's like my little what do you call it? Not safety place, but oasis. Where I go out there. And that's my zen out there. Unfortunately now my neighbors, they have some really yappy dogs, so it's not that zen out there no more. I usually go out there and just meditate. I mean, I used to really like work in the yard, but my body doesn't like it. I have fibromyalgia, so I just go out there and water. So it's very, very relaxing. Other than that, honestly, I haven't really been doing a whole lot. Where I'm at, there's really not much going on. And like I said, it's a desert. There's not really much going on. But my life is actually pretty boring.
Do you know, I don't think it is boring, because you do so much. But I'm like you. I live, not quite the desert that you've got, but I live in a desert region of Europe, a very large desert. I live up in the hills. It is exceptionally quiet. There is nada here, nothing. And if someone was to say to me, what do you do for fun, I'd be sitting there going, well, but I mean, I go and watch bands and stuff like that. But for me, it's a long drive down the mountain, and I've got 3 rescue dogs, so I only stay out for a short period of time. So I totally understand that trying to find space for that fun is often, it is quite difficult. But I do the same as you. I sit on my terrace, and I don't have very many plants because I forget to water them. Which is not a great look. I've been thinking recently, it's like, how do I make that area really pretty? I think what I might do is go and buy some false plants, so and it'll keep all the wasps away. But I love to sit up there and to journal and to read, and just like you talk about kind of getting connected to my muse, just by being in the beauty of Mother Nature.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally get it. Kay, this is absolutely, it's incredible. I mean, your knowledge about mindset, your knowledge about creating things and marketing and systems and structures, I know are second to none. And I know that when you work with your clients, you see amazing results with all of the different modalities that you bring into your coaching practice. So my next question is really easy. Where can they find you, and where can they find this fabulous new book?
Well, my website is kaysanders.com. I also have a Facebook group. It's for the conscious entrepreneur. So if you go on Facebook, type in the Conscious Entrepreneur Lounge. That's my group. So it's really geared towards business and also the mindset and the conscious side. So I kind of incorporate all 3 pieces like in one. My book, you can go to messagesofinspiration.com. So you can get the email series there. You can also find out about, what it is. And there are actually some example quotes there too, so you can take a look at it. I'm also on Facebook regular, and also LinkedIn. Just type in Kay Sanders and you'll find me.
So I'm going to leave everybody with this. So I said right at the beginning that I met Kay about a year ago, and we became accountability buddies. And so I know that her coaching is absolutely fantastic. I've already had, a peek preview of her book. Of course I have, Of course I have. I'm signed up to her email list, and I genuinely, my heart to your heart, believe that you should, if you want some coaching, if you want someone to delve into your Akashic records and help you with mindset, with all those kind of systems and strategies, you must connect with her, because she is awesome. She is on fire. I know you said you've got fibromyalgia, but you are on fire. And please, connect with Kay, buy a book, come to the party, watch what she does, and, follow her, invite her to your podcast, just get to know her, because she is truly a really, really beautiful person. Kay, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and good luck with your launch.
Thank you. And I just kind of want to add that, I mean, you were really huge part in, helping me getting my book out there, just helping me stay on track, giving me advice and stuff. So, I just want to add that you were really a huge part of it. And I mean, that's why I did mention you in my book as well, under a dedication, because I wouldn't have been able to do it without you and some other people. And you guys helped me stay on track. So I just wanted to add that. So thank you so much for doing everything and being my accountability partner and keeping me straight.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Okay, congratulations. And everybody, please do, as I've said, get connected to Kay, buy her book, and help her make this second book another bestseller. Thank you.